Hi, thanks for joining us again. Another really special bike that I just wanted to share with you here today. This is one of the bikes that Scott Redding used to win the British Superbike Championship in 2019. So this is a V4R RS sort of factory race Ducati. Obviously the different spec in BSB, whereas this machine's running Motec compared to the World Superbike bikes that are running the Morelli system. And so quite an interesting setup here and quite an unusual one as well. I personally find it quite difficult to understand why the BSB rules make you take away the electronic system that has traction control and things on it as standard and put something that is much more basic and has no traction and things. I don't think it makes any better racing, and certainly to try and ride a 200 brake horsepower bike with no electronic aids makes it quite dangerous and difficult for the riders. And so a little bit of a strange beast, but that's what the BSB rules give us. Really interesting to look under the fairing again on this and to see some of the differences over the standard machine. Obviously you see the big radiator down the front here to keep the cooling. But one of the most obvious things on this bike is the Tiramanoni exhaust system. In order to get the length on the system, they've had to come right up the back here on these pipes and around the back, and obviously it looks very different to the standard road bike. And obviously length of pipe is nothing to do with noise level, it's to do with the way the bike makes its power. Normally by putting extra length into an exhaust, you actually get more top end power from it. And so they've obviously had a lot of trouble to get the length they wanted to be able to get the power from the machine that was there to be taken. Again, like we saw on the Rinaldi bike the other day, it uses the lovely little clip-on bayonet type fixings, and also this bike has a lot of the factory parts on, which have got the part number on that you find only on coarser pieces, which separate it from a road-going machine. I'll come and grab the camera, you can have a closer look at some of the details on the bike. Obviously, I talked about the part numbers and things. These are factory clip-ons, and you can see all the buttons and things on the top here, and all the different electronics and stuff that are going on the top there. As we come in closer down here, you can see some of the Motec boxes and things, part of the ignition system. And obviously these are Morelli pressure sensors, the same as you'd find on the World Superbike, and the little bayonet type fixings we talked about as well. And they, you know, even all these little pieces here, they've all got the part number on and the date and things like that. Some other little things that are lovely on this bike. Obviously it's got Scott Redding all over it, and something that is really nice to see. This is the tyre that he won on. You see it's heavily burnt out. 45 SR for Scott Redding, 2019 and champion. And that's something that's quite lovely to see on a bike like this. It's been untouched since it finished the race. You can see it's got a couple of battle scars here and there, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Something I wanted to get a little bit closer on is these fork bottoms. They really are sensational, the way they're machined back and really peened down to absolutely nothing. And these discs are quite interesting too, because they have a peg that sits into a recess as opposed to the bobbin that you see on most of the discs. And you can see in the front wheel there, Scott Redding again, and all the other different bits and bobs. Even the nuts on the radiator have got these lovely built-in washers that have been slotted to keep the weight down, and they're a thing of beauty in themselves, just a tiny little detail like that, along with the usual sort of drilled titanium type bolts that you would find on a World Superbike or a British Superbike. Okay, hope you enjoyed having a look around the bike. It's lovely to see these things without the fairing on, to get a little bit of a better understanding as to what goes on underneath.